Hi everyone, it's Kasia from Tarot Map. In this video I would like to talk about the Living Wheel astrology cards. So it's going to be like a tiny little bit of review, just show you the deck, even though I think most of you know the deck. But the most important part of the video, I want to show you how to, so how to use this deck and whom this deck is kind of, in my opinion, geared towards and who would really benefit from using this deck. So this was created by Patrick J. Fogarty, and as you can see, it's called the Living Wheel Astrology cards. So the execution of this deck is really amazing. It's like beautiful little box, really elegant, very simple artwork you will see in a sec if you don't know this deck yet. So it's Living Astrology cards, keyword booklet. So here you have everything you need to kickstart your knowledge and your adventure with astrology. And this is my first kind of opinion. I think this is a brilliant deck for anyone who wants to learn astrology because it's like a visual aid to, getting into the astrological chart. Sometimes seeing the astrological chart can be very overwhelming. There's a lot of symbols. You don't see any, Venus, Mars. You just see the glyphs of the planets, the glyphs of the signs. Everything is together. The houses mean something, but nobody knows what, and so on and so forth. So here what Patrick did, and he did it in a very, very great way. And, not that I'm considering myself like a world specialist in astrology, but I have studied astrology since 2005. And I have studied with very amazing teachers, like world famous teachers. And, I work as an astrologer. So I can say that I know a lot about astrology. And I thought that he did pick really brilliant keywords. They quite not very limiting, because it's hard to pick a keyword for Aries. Aries is a complex archetype. It's like picking one keyword for the emperor, It's really hard to narrow it down to one keyword. So what he did a really great job. So with the sun, it's illumination, and that's a big archetype, so you can work with it. The moon is reflection, Mercury transmission, Venus is unification, Mars, for example, is assertion, and Earth is life. And I think this is really intelligent, brilliantly done. So you get this little pamphlet, and then you get the cards, which are beautifully gilded with this old gold, aka, Star Child Tarot and stuff like this. You get this very beautiful bags, kind of, like a symbolic of astrological chart, or in Patrick's case of living wheel. So with the all cross, the cross points and all the celebrations. In the deck, you get the symbolic representation of each of the astrological house. So you've got 12 houses. So you can put them out, and see what do I have in my 12th house. So you will work with these cards in accordance or in accompaniment of your astrological chart, because I think this is a great visual aid to work with your chart. So we have the houses. We have all the planets. So also, if you don't know the planets, we even get asteroid Chiron, and we get North Node and South Node, which I find in a sec. But you do get all the planets, including Sun and Moon, which, yes, everybody knows, and all the astrologers know that they're not a planet, but we keep using them like this. So you get Sun, Moon, you get Earth, you get Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Chiron, and, as I said, North Node and South Node. And it's beautiful if you don't know, the symbols for, or the glyphs for the planets. That's how you can learn with your little, with the little pamphlet. You can figure out what is what. And also, if you know a little bit of geography and stuff, kind of how the planets look. That Saturn gets the rings, and Uranus is blue, and these are gas planets, and so on. So this is quite easy to then figure out, oh, I do have Sun, let's say, in the 12th house. And you can really map, your astrological chart, your birth potential visually, and it's much easier to understand. I think this oracle could be also really cool for people who maybe don't care too much about astrology, even though, you know, it's mostly an astrology deck. So I think mostly people who like astrology or want to learn astrology will get it. But also if you, for example, a fan of this simple, beautiful artwork, you can get it as a visual aid for your altar. So I definitely will be using it as my altar, you know, if, like, for example, Uranus or any of the planets changes house, or in my chart, or changes a sign in the skies, you know, it's really beautiful to mark it and do a little ritual about it. So here you've got all the 8 phases of the moon, which are really lovely. You also have the eclipses, which is beautiful. So he included really cool aspects that often you miss out on in other decks. And then you get all the astrological signs, and they have, he depicted them as constellations. So if you looked up in the skies, you can also learn how to read, you know, how to find those constellations, because that's how astrology came to life, right? It was just from people observing the skies. So you've got all the astrological signs, 12 signs. And then you can go, you know, I've got Sun in the 12th house, let's say in the sign of Aries, and you can mark it, and visually it really looks really beautiful. And it's much easier also for people who, for example, have to see or really love pictures, you know, to depict and to see it with their eyes. So here we have those lunar nodes also, which are responsible. They are energy points connected to the moon and to the how moon crosses over the ecliptic. And they connected to our past and future kind of lessons, you know, and our spiritual evolution. So these are quite important points as well. I'm just going to put them here. And then not only this, so these are all these kind of astrological things. But then he also adds the living wheel, right? So the kind of, you know, like Celtic shamanism, the earthy, natural living wheel that turns when you observe. So now we go into spring. And what I love, he gives us 2 cards for each season, because yes, spring looks like this. So first we just see what sprouts out, but then later on we see blooming flowers and blooming trees. The summer also is just first is this amazing summer that comes, and then, you know, slowly everything starts to kind of gray, you know, you get the green gray and so on. The autumn is, you get this beautiful time when you have all the leaves, and then you get the time in autumn where all the leaves fall down, and then the winter, you know, beginning like this November, December, it's kind of dark and gray, and then maybe you're lucky enough to get snow. So he also here puts the all the seasons, the first half, the second half, and he gives also a little keyword. So he says in his description that you can use this deck as a oracle deck, and use the keywords to kickstart your intuition, you know, like you can just shuffle it and pull by random and use a keyword. But to me it's just a little bit of the waste of this deck, because this is a great deck to learn astrology. So I did mention, you know, the simple way that you can use it. So you use basically, you check with your astrological chart. You can go on to astro.com, which I'm going to, like, I put the information in the links below, information to Patrick's website as well, where you can check out his blog and his decks. So you can use, you know, all the planets, you can put them out, and then you can see, okay, I have, let's say, Sun and Moon in the 12th house. I've got Earth, Earth it's you. I've got Mercury in the 1st house. I've got Venus in whatever, the 2nd house. And you can mark it like this and, you know, set the mood and set the visual aid to actually learn about your chart a little bit more. And it really helps. Trust me, it helps a lot when you actually see, you know, okay, my third house is full. Let's say you have like 5 planets in the third house, you know. You can have Sun, Mercury, Venus, let's say, and I don't know, Saturn or something. So you will learn much better, and you will maybe understand much better how certain energies, and then you add, you know, oh, most of the planets are in Taurus, but one is in Aries or in Gemini, you know. So it helps to understand and to kind of dig those energies. But I wouldn't be me if I didn't mix this deck with something else, right? With another deck that or a few other decks that I have. So I want to share with you a few ways that you can use this deck in conjunction with a tarot deck or another oracle deck. So the first idea that I came up with was to, for example, explore a planet or energy that you feel like, let's say you have, let's take your sun. Let's see, you have a sun in like Leo. So you put this card's sun in Leo, right? And then let's say we want to like explore them, just play creatively. So you grab a deck of tarot cards, you shuffle them. And like question that we can ask can be, for example, how do I manifest my sun in Leo in the most positive way, you know? And we can pull some cards. And they can tell us something, you know, here. So the Leo part of you, the energy of Leo, you're doing quite well and you have a great potential, let's say, because the sun came up. So that's really cool, right? And we can see that this Leo side, so you might be creative, you might feel, you might be very, you know, joyous, happy, strong. You might feel like you want to achieve a lot. You can be this gregarious, beautiful, amazing person. But under the sun, we can see 8 of Swords, right? So maybe the energy of the sun right now, even though you feel like you have this power of the sun within you, and especially in this Leo quality, is a little bit blocked. So maybe you might need, you know, to explore this 8 of Swords. You can pull another oracle card to it. You can pull, you know, any oracle deck. I picked some small decks because I have not much space left. So you can put it and ask, like, where am I blocking it? So here you might be receiving messages, but these are 2 air element cards. So we know that probably there is some mental attitude, there is some mental blockage that you might want to check with yourself, you know. Maybe you have received a message from somebody criticized your work. Leos are very sensitive when it comes to criticism. Or, for example, somebody didn't notice you. I don't know. There's, you know, a lot of different ways you can go with it, but it's an interesting way to, you know, explore your planets from your chart. You can go with every planet, you can do the same, and you can then explore, for example, what area in life you can, you know, put it, like shuffle the deck and the houses and ask what area of life, where can I for example, manifest this energy of the sun a little bit more. And then we, let's say, have the 4th house. So this is the family house. And here Patrick in the 4th house also says the keyword is the family, but it can be around your house. It can be about being creative, or maybe you got some messages from your childhood that you can't do anything or whatever. Then how can you embrace and get out of this mental blockage? So this is one way you can play with this deck and with other decks. So another way that we can explore or work with this deck is, for example, checking the state, you know, of certain transits that are going on in your life. For this, you might need to know astrology a little bit more, but you can also check, you know, you can download this this Time Passages app, and it will tell you, you know, the daily horoscope. So you will have all the transits, and there's a script, there is description of the transits and so on. So let's say I have today, let's say, Sun conjunction natal Jupiter. So we can go for the Sun, and we can go for Jupiter. We know that they in conjunction. I know that my natal Jupiter is in the 9th house, so I'm going to pull the 9th house from the deck. So I know it has to do with, studies, with philosophy, with esoteric knowledge, with learning, with teaching. Yes, Jupiter is a great symbol of a teacher too. It can do with religions, with travels, with wanting to, see the world, with foreign languages, all these possible interpretations. But let's ask, how does this transit want to express itself in the 9th house today, not for all my life, but today? How is best to approach this energy? Like, how does it want to express itself? So we can pull, for example, one tarot card, and this is Princess of Cups. So straight away I go into, spiritual. There's like this whales. There's, to me, that is a little bit speaking about my exploration of Mary, exploration of my emotions, connected to it, to the Akashic records, to this kind of huge lineage that Mary brings in with other goddesses, with, kind of that Christianity didn't just happen like this. It was evolution from all these myths that repeat from eons of time. So this is something that straight away comes to my mind. We can pull, for example, 2 oracle cards. One, like I'm going to pull from Compendium of Constellations, because it's kind of thematic. So we can see how this transit wants to express itself today. So definitely some dream work, also creativity with cups, paying attention to my emotions. But I love the whale and this kind of dream-like sense of going deep with emotions and not being afraid to go and astral travel a little bit. So if we add some oracle cards to it, Pleiades, and no, I shit you not, I was just listening to some lectures, and May is Mother Mary's month, and it's connected also to Pleiades, and in May you can see Pleiades, at least in Europe here, in the skies, and they start to appear really, they're very visible. So this is about optimism also. And let's pull one more, and ambition. So now we have this 2 keywords and Princess of Cups, and we try to connect it also and see how this Jupiterian, expansive, sun, optimistic, right? Jupiter is this jovial planet, the biggest planet in our solar system, has to do with this particular combination. So this is how you can use, explore your different combinations. You could also work in a similar way with the moon phases. So let's say we now approaching the new moon. So we're in the dark moon phase. So, and new moon is going to be in Aries. So let's ask, my Aries is in the 9th house as well. So we want this 9th house card. Where did I put it? And we can ask, new moon, what am I birthing? New moon in Aries is a very special new moon. It's like a new year of the new moon. So what am I birthing? And sometimes you can use, for example, for the next, let's say for the whole spring even, because I don't like doing readings for the whole life. It doesn't really work very well for me. But what am I birthing for the next spring? I know it's in the 9th house. When I look at the keyword, even if you don't know what the 9th house is, you look at the keyword and you see here, 9th house is about journeying. And they can be different journeys. They can be physical journeys. They can be learning, reading a book can be a journey. Aries likes to pioneer. It's a very expressive, fiery, I want to, like a spring energy. So Aries here we have I am, and it's cardinal fire. So it's energy that likes to, start fires. But it's a new moon, so this energy is just, sprinting. So it feels a little bit like this, sprouting, you know, this sprout energy, the very, very spring feeling. So what wants to, you know, birth itself in this 9th house, in the Aries for me with this new moon. And we can pull 3 cards, let's say. So I got, this is the Lover, that's 6 of Wands, 2 of Pentacles, and 4 of Swords. So we have 3 elements, Wands, Pentacles, and Swords. So it's quite well balanced. First of all, what I'm seeing, they all like the, you know, 6, 2, and 4. It's like 6 minus 4 is 2, 2 plus 4 is 6. So definitely she reminds me of Aries. She's red, you know, she's the lady of victory. So there is definitely this ambition from the previous reading. There's something that I'm awakening to my power. And maybe I will have to connect 2 things. I will have to juggle some stuff. I will have to open up maybe myself. Maybe it's like to, you know, work with my body a little bit more, on flexibility of my body when I look at this card. And here also, you know, because it's such an expansive energy, maybe also take into consideration this peace of mind a little bit, and rest when I need to rest, because this energy is very expansive. It wants to know, it wants to get there. But to, for example, modify our reading or get another level to the reading, we can add 3 oracle cards as well. And because this compendium of constellation is such a cool oracle with just keywords, we can see if it's going to maybe give us some other, you know. So here, for example, it's hate. So this is an interesting one. She looks like Aries, right? Aries loves war. Aries loves challenge. But Aries also has a lot of stuff to do with ego, with anger, with frustration, and working on expressing and learning on expressing anger. So sometimes this hate, the rage, the frustration, the anger, you know, that might come up for me. And especially with this energy here. So I've got to watch this one, right? So it's not only 6 of Wands as like, oh, it's so beautiful and you will be just a winner. You work with the energies. Tarot doesn't say what's going to happen, but Tarot really gives you some prompts on, you know, what to pay attention to. Here we have enlighten. And so this is more like solar plexus, heart chakra, with this 2 of Pentacles. So I think maybe it's like enlightening the body and not forgetting about the body, you know, knowing where this anger maybe sits in my body and how I can transform it, how I can work with this anger. Maybe it's telling me something important, and this is a very explorative house. And then the next card is safety. So sometimes, as I said, here with this mental and this blue card, you know, safety, 4 of Swords can be a safety card, right? Because that's when we withdraw. That's when we need to really focus on our thoughts, on our attention, like maybe meditate, take a little breaks. So it's not only action, 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 but so these cards can also tell us quite a lot. The oracle cards can add just another level. And visually, that just looks so beautiful. So I think, you know, this is a nice way to introduce astrology and tarot and oracle, and how you can work with 3 of them to, you know, depict and allow your mind to be creative, to be excited about being part of co-creating your life, not just using cards as they take away your power, that you can't do anything. You're not getting tarot reading not to do things. You're getting tarot reading to inspire yourself to see what can you do and how can you do different, and maybe you can do better. And sometimes, sometimes suffering comes, and that's what you have to deal with as well, because it's life. And life, unfortunately, gives us blows whenever it wants to. So sometimes we can't just control it. So I'm hoping that this few ways of using this deck and exploring the whole idea with this deck. So you can explore, for example, what am I up to with the, during the first half of the season, and you can pull, 2 tarot cards, you can pull an oracle card, you can pull another oracle card to it, and just see like how can you connect it all? So I'm hoping this is inspiring and that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or if you want me to make more of those videos, just please shout. And yeah, take a look at Patrick's deck. There's also an interview that I'm going to post, or it's already up on my channel, that I have done with Patrick. We talk a lot about astrology and all of it. So take a look at this too. And yeah, let me know what you think and how you use this deck if you have it, or how would you want to use this deck. Maybe you have some other ideas. I'd love to hear from you, and thank you for watching. Bye.